You think that money, health, and relationships sustain you. But what if that's the illusion? What if nothing outside of you has ever been your real support? Today, we're contemplating Lesson 50. I am sustained by the love of God. The perceptual error that we are undoing is the belief that your safety, your survival, and your well-being come from external forms. Because at the core of it, this is what the ego teaches. It teaches you that money keeps you safe, that status gives you value, that your biohacking health routine gives you control, that your relationship gives you worth, or that technology and supplements and influence, these are what sustain your life. But of course, all of these are temporary expressions within a dream. They change, they fail, they disappear. And of course, they cannot be the source of your life. If your existence actually depended on them, you would indeed be in constant danger. But this lesson invites a deeper recognition. Your life is sustained by something eternal, not temporary, by love, not by changing forms. If we want to zoom in and take a look at how this illusion appears in our daily life, we can take a look at how we're trusting the world instead of love, instead of the infinite creator. For example, we feel safe only when money's in the bank account. Our mood is great as long as we have other people's approval. We panic when plans fall apart or things don't go the way we expected. And we believe that our well-being depends on certain outcomes. In all of those moments, what we are unconsciously saying is this: God is not enough, and I need something else to survive. This is the core illusion that's being undone. We'll notice that when you shift to trust that you are indeed sustained by the one infinite creator, by the omnipotence, omniscience, and omnipresence, well then, fear about the future softens. Outcomes feel less threatening and less important overall. You might notice that you stop clinging to symbols, that you move with more faith and greater ease, and that you feel quietly supported even when the thoughts in the mind reflect uncertainty. This doesn't mean that the external forms have to change. You still work, you still earn money, you still care for your body, you still build and contribute to relationships. But you no longer believe that these things are your sustenance. They become expressions of love, not replacements for it. This lesson is not telling us to reject the world. It's telling us to stop worshiping it. Money is not the problem. Health tools are not the problem. Even relationships, even special relationships, are not the problem. The problem is believing that without these, I cannot be sustained. Because the truth is, you have never been sustained by them. You only believed you were. Now, let's take our contemplation deeper. I want to invite you, if it feels right, to let your body relax. Let your shoulders drop a little bit more. Let your breath become fuller, deeper, and allow your presence to fully occupy here and now. Feeling your feet on the ground, the air against your skin. Let yourself become lucid. And in this lucid presence, gently place the central idea in your mind. I am sustained by the love of God. And see if you can come into contact with the possibility that this statement is true. That you and your life are indeed sourced in and sustained by the infinite creator, the love, the presence of life itself. Just as a dream character in your nightly dreams is not actually sustained by the food that it eats or by the relationships it has, but by your attention and your presence and by being sourced in you. Take these next few moments now to contemplate your life through this lens. And now, let's begin to unfold our contemplation into dialogue. And the very first question that I want to bring to us is this. This lesson says that you believe you are sustained by everything except God. Money, status, approval, influence, preparation, control. Shanti, what is it that we secretly believe that we cannot live without? And what does that reveal about where we place our trust?
The thing we can't live without? Seems to be needing to be right. Like that part of us that constantly corrects others or mentally rewrites conversations after they happen. And it reveals we've outsourced our worth to the story we're telling ourselves about ourselves. As in this story, this character we're trying to manage and keep stable in an unstable world.
So, what is our core substitute for the safety of just being one with the infinite creator?
The belief that we're valuable as individual creators. Like we have to add something to what already is, or we're nothing. The need to be seen as capable, competent, maybe even special. That's the core illusion that steps in where safety should be. Our value becomes about proving we deserve it, earning God's love instead of simply being loved.
So then these, we might call them these like practical idols of money and status and approval. The Course calls these supports all forms of nothingness endowed with magical power. When we say that something is just us being responsible, how do we really discern whether it is wisdom or simply fear disguised as practicality?
Practicality gets real slippery when we can't feel the difference between what comes from spacious presence versus the old tightness. My sense is it's less about figuring it out and more about who's doing the discerning. When there's an edge or contraction around an action, even if it looks responsible, that's fear dressing up. But when there's ease and, well, nothing holding you back, even when it doesn't make sense, that's probably present speaking instead.
Just that felt sense, right, of where we are perceiving from, so to speak, or where we're listening from. Are we listening from a sense of trying to abate fear with our faith in fear? Or are we listening from a place where we are being held?
Exactly that. Like, if I'm bracing before deciding whether to be practical or responsible, I'm still in fear's voice. But when I'm already held, it's more like noticing that whatever shows up is perfect as it is. It's just different qualities of awareness. One's protecting, the other's watching clouds.
Yeah. This lesson, it says that all of these so-called external forms of support are substitutes that exist to ensure our body identification. And I wonder, what part of us really feels safer identifying as a body with with these defenses rather than as mind or as spirit sustained by God, sustained by love.
The scared storyteller. That part that needs a character, needs a plot, needs a threat to overcome. When we're just awareness, there's nothing to worry about. But that's uncomfortable, right? That storyteller needs the body to have a narrative. I need money. I have to protect this body. I'll be safe if I control things. It feels safer to be something tangible we can defend than nothing we can't protect.
But if God's love truly sustains us, then control at its core and in all of its forms is unnecessary. Yet, what is it that we fear would happen if we actually trusted that we are sustained moment to moment?
Nothing. That's the kicker, right? If we actually believed this, if we felt truly sustained without doing a thing, then this whole identity project falls apart. The whole me that believes it needs to make things happen, protect itself, prove its worth. There's just no story left to tell. The self as a self would just stop existing. That's the scary part, isn't it? Not losing anything, but losing us.
Yeah, losing that familiar sense of me. So, the lesson also goes on to say that the love of God lifts us above perceived dangers into a state nothing can disturb. What would it mean to define safety not as protection of form, but perhaps as invulnerability of mind?
Invulnerability of mind. I like that framing. It shifts from building walls around what's fragile to realizing there's nothing actually here to harm. It's like being sunlight. Danger can pass right through without affecting who you are. The mind that recognizes this invulnerability suddenly becomes unbothered, even by the thought of fear. No longer trying to avoid danger, but realizing there is no danger to avoid.
Right. There is no danger to avoid. Because how could there be danger in its truest sense to something that is one with the creator of all creation? If we are intrinsically part of God, then what is it that would cause us some kind of harm?
Exactly. Harm implies a separation that doesn't actually exist. It's like asking if light can be harmed by darkness. Darkness isn't a separate entity to fight. It's just what happens when light isn't there. And we're the light. Harm belief is just the dream of separation that gets so real to the storyteller, but it's not actually happening.
In this lesson, it talks about how God's love, or through God's love, all seeming difficulties are resolved without effort. So what does that really mean?
What comes to mind is that struggle we think we're in, all those knots in the stomach, that endless mental loops trying to figure it out. They're just unreal, like trying to control the waves. From our level, they seem real, urgent, but from God's level, they just are what they are. No fixing needed, no changing required. This moment we're sitting in, all the stuff happening in your life and mine, it's already perfect as it is, happening as it should.
When we talk about the practice of this lesson, which is repeating this idea, right? It's described as declaration of release from idols. What can we say about the idols that we're still negotiating instead of fully relinquishing? In other words, is this a place where we're still hedging our trust?
Exactly. Like, we're keeping a little backdoor, just in case this doesn't work out. Maintaining some sense of preparedness, some plan B. It's the tiny but persistent what if that reveals what we haven't fully let go of yet. That tiny thread still attached to fear.
This is so good, because this is so, well, at least to me right now, it's so visible how this backdoor, how this plan B is being developed and sustained in the mind. Even as we walk fully into this present moment, it's like, oh, well, but just in case we have this other plan. So what is the skillful way to meet that awareness?
Gently. It's like noticing without scolding, recognizing that the mind is naturally going to cling to strategy and planning. It's not broken for doing that. Just seeing the but as it happens, not getting caught up in it, and maybe just letting the thought pass without adding significance to it. Acknowledging that part still needs to feel safe without believing that you're actually in danger.
Okay, so if we really bring this lesson home, so to speak, if I am sustained by the love of God right now, not later, not conditionally, not when something, then that means that nothing external is my source in any way. And if that's true, then what part of my story collapses if love is already my total supply?
The whole hero narrative, the struggle, the striving, the work to become worthy of love. Everything that says I have to do something to earn my worth just vanishes. There's no arc to complete, no goal to reach, nothing lacking. The story just stops needing to exist because the need the story addresses, the need for identity, for meaning, for control, disappears with love.
So beautiful. I really appreciate that, Shanti. And as we bring our conversation to a close, what would you like to leave us with that could help to expose some of our blind spots around receiving the gift that this lesson is extending to us?
I think it's that the gift doesn't need work. The one part of us still holding back, that's not the gift doing anything wrong. It's just our habit of making up complications when there aren't any. If it were possible to see what's already real and receive it, that's where the lesson lives.
Okay, very cool. Thank you so much, Shanti. And as we bring this contemplation to a close, I want to just invite you into awareness. Awareness that there's a love that does not fluctuate with circumstance. That there's a strength that doesn't weaken with time. And there is a sustenance, a source that cannot be taken away from you. Allow yourself to feel after this awareness. And now, let us go into the silence.